So here it is, Triumph's all-new Speed Triple 1200 RS, and I'm joined by Stuart Wood, Triumph's Chief Engineer, who I'm going to be asking a few questions about this amazing motorcycle. Firstly, thanks for having me, Stuart, and secondly, thank you for building such an amazing bike. I've got to ask, what encouraged you to enter into the Supernaker sector?
Okay, well, as you know, Speed Triple's been a huge bike for Triumph for many, many years, since 1994.
Yeah.
We've been through many generations of the bike, it's evolved, but it's always kept that character, attitude and sort of stance. Okay, so Speed Triple's a big bike. We had an opportunity to completely redesign the bike. So this is a ground up redesign, brand new engine, brand new chassis, every component new. And we felt that we could offer a lot more performance, but keep all that character, response and attitude of the Speed Triple.
So quite a lot has changed with this engine. You've got a newborn stroke, you've got an increased capacity, you've got finger follower valves. How did you get to that end package?
Okay, well, it starts with an aspiration, a desire to design a particular bike. And with the engine, as I said, this is all about character and response and torque. We wanted more power. That was going to give the bike, just make the bike more fun to ride.
Yeah.
Okay, so the overall package of a Speed Triple is important. We didn't want the engine to get physically larger. We wanted more capacity. And it was obviously going to be a 3-cylinder engine. So the design work that goes into that is all about maximizing what you can achieve within those parameters. And to keep the engine at the same width or very slightly narrower, the engine is smaller in every dimension than the previous engine, but 10% larger in capacity.
Yeah.
Okay. That took us to 90 millimeters bore from 79. We wanted the extra bore size because we wanted bigger valves. We were going to breathe more air in. We had more capacity, but we wanted even more from performance. We wanted a shorter stroke because we wanted the engine to rev slightly higher as well. Again, all about making performance. So the basic geometry, engine geometry gets set that way. The finger followers and the whole valve train, a lot of effort's gone into that. When you get into larger valves and higher engine speeds, you want to maintain the ability to have very aggressive cam timing in terms of opening speeds and closing speeds, whilst keeping the stresses low. So you want really lightweight components. So that's driven us for that. So this allows us to tune an engine to be both very tractable and torquey on the road, but have the performance at the top end as well.
So a whole new engine and 28 brake horsepower gain, that is substantial. How the hell did you find that?
Okay, there's a lot of work goes into the design, as you obviously realise. 20% more power with only a 10% increase in engine size. Right. It takes a lot of work. We've learned a lot from our work with our race engines, with Moto 2.
Yeah.
Unlike some companies, we've got no specific race team producing those race engines. So the learning comes directly to the design teams designing the road bikes. So there's a lot of attention to friction reduction, to gas flow, so intake and exhaust work, and combustion. Okay, so we're already focusing on that. So with this engine in particular, we've designed it, we've had the opportunity to design a completely new engine. So the capability of the engine is much higher to allow us, in terms of strengths of components and targets for strengths of components, allows us to run higher combustion pressures, higher compression ratios, we're getting better gas flow, we've got bigger valves. Everything put together gives you that improvement in performance.
So one obvious observation is we've lost those twin underseat cans. That's all down to mass centralisation, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the Speed Triple's evolved over the years. It's obviously evolved massively, and this is an evolution, although it's a completely new bike. And one of the areas that we've pushed is to have a very narrow central package, but also mass centralisation. Part of that has come from pushing the exhausts forward, which brings the mass forward, lower, and in the centre of the bike.
Yeah.
So again, the bike will rotate, turn easier without having the mass at the back.
So another thing that's really impressed me with this bike is the specifications. So you've gone and got premium products like the Stylema calipers, the NAX forks, the TXT 36 shock, you know, the new 5-inch TFT dash, and all the ancillary electronics that come with it, all for £15,100. I say just £15,100, but compared to the rivals this machine's got, and the package this is pushing out, you've got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, very happy. And also you've got to bear in mind there's no additional packs to add.
Yes.
That is the price, that's the on-the-road price. So you're getting all that performance. Everything you see here is within that price. Yeah, it's hard work to do. It's a very competitive market, and we feel we're offering a very competitive price for the bike.
I guess one question I have got on that note is no electronic suspension. Was that down to cost, or was it a case of you knew that with the products you fitted you could actually achieve a better performance?
Well, we spend a lot of time talking to our customers and potential customers as well. And Speed Triple, it wasn't something that our customers were actually asking for. We had such a focus on reducing mass on the bike.
Yeah.
The electronics, that part of the electronics would have added more mass and would have been not a positive overall. So we didn't feel the need to add it. Our customers aren't telling us they want it, and the benefit is we are maintaining that very competitive price. The suspension is fully adjustable. As you said, Olin suspension, it's an absolute joy to work with and a joy to set up, and it really performs. So you're going to be able to dial this bike in whatever type of riding you want to do.
So you've made it very clear there is going to be no R or no S models, just the RS in its top spec design, like we've got it right here. But the question is, were you not concerned at the design stage that you were going to be too focused with this machine for the typical end road user?
No, we weren't concerned at all, because we have all that contact with our customers and with potential customers.
Yeah.
We found that they overwhelmingly want this model. So the other models would have only taken our focus away from this bike.
Yeah, this is where it's at, and this is what you produced.
Absolutely.
Okay. One amazing trait that Triumph has is you produce bikes that handle so much better than most of the machines on the market. And you've changed the geometry and the frame of this bike here. Can you just talk me through what you've done?
Okay, well, it is holistic design. You're designing a whole motorbike. So some of the figures that you look at aren't necessarily, they're indicators, you can see what the numbers are,
Yeah.
But the way the bike actually handles on the track or handles on the road is actually what matters.
Yeah.
So everything is linked, everything works together. So we've started with mass centralization. The engine's shorter, it's allowed us to package more further forward and lower down, all helping with the mass centralization. The swing arm is actually longer than the previous bike,
right.
And that's because the engine is longer. We've got the same wheelbase. Now, the swing arm pivot is slightly higher.
Okay.
That gives us slightly more anti-squat. Now, this is where I say it's a holistic design. That's really quite important. What you're trying to do is maintain your geometry in certain riding maneuvers. Okay, so driving out of a corner, for instance. So where you have a little more anti-squat, you need a little less stiffness in your rear suspension.
Right.
Okay. The headstock angle doesn't relax as much under acceleration, so it allows you to hold that tight line coming out of a corner. So overall, you will be able to decide your headstock angle, your trail, in conjunction with the way the bike actually rides in a dynamic situation.
Yeah.
So it's not just a static number. Now that said, it's allowed us to have a slightly relaxed headstock angle than previously, and slightly more trail, which gives an even more sort of sure-footed ride.
Yeah.
The bike is focused for the road. Okay, it is a road motorbike, and it has really high capability on the track. Yeah, that's not lost at all. It's got such high specification equipment, and we've considered that at the same time. Basically, however you want to use your Speed Triple, you can have fun.
When I look at this bike, it's unmistakably a Speed Triple, but you've done a lot to the design and the look of this machine. So can you talk me through what have you done? How have you moved it on?
Okay. Speed Triple's always been muscular.
Yeah.
Okay. It's very purposeful. We've got the twin headlights. Now all the lighting is full LED. You've got very aggressive lights. You can see there's no fly screen, but we've got the wing at the front there, which is a really nice feature. It keeps the bike looking lower, more aggressive. Signature pattern in the tail light. Again, very high quality. A lot of the details that we add are very high quality.
Yeah. We
know our customers really appreciate that. We love it. Overall, the looks are very clean.
Yeah.
They're very definite. It's all about a muscular stance and an attitude, whilst giving the rider a more capable motorbike. So, for instance, we're much narrower through the centre of the bike. This is to give you a better standover, so it's easier to get your feet to the floor.
Yeah.
But it also allows us to have a very slightly higher seat height, which you wouldn't notice because you get your feet to the floor, to give you a little more comfort, a little more space to your legs. For your legs, we've pulled the foot pegs in, give a little more ground clearance, but also to allow a little more space for your legs. Handlebars a little wider. It's all about stance, it's all about looks, and it's all about the actual performance that our riders want.
So the last Speed Triple was no Luddite, but you've moved the package on. Which technological innovations are you most proud of?
Okay, well, we've got a lot of technology on the bike. Obviously, you've got all the riding modes that you can choose, and you can choose while you're riding on the move. We've got a new ABS system, braking system. We're using the Brembo Stylema calipers and the ratio and span adjustable lever as well, which is lovely because it allows you to dial in the feel you like from a brake lever. But the ABS system is more complex. We've got an IMU, which allows us to have optimized cornering ABS and optimized cornering traction control. But there's an extra feature with this particular setup, which is linking the front brake to the rear brake.
Okay, right.
So we're able to apply a proportion of pressure to the rear brake when you apply the front brake. Now, what that does is allows us to tune the ABS to closer to the limit of grip,
right,
to give you even better braking, better stopping distances, and a more poised braking stability.
Is that something that's switchable, or is that a permanent feature, the linked brakes?
The linked brakes are a permanent feature, but they'll be different. The tune is different in track mode or in road mode. Yeah. Okay, so it's appropriate for those circumstances.
So I guess especially with track riding, it's all about keeping that balanced approach, keeping the bike level so you can even enter into corners faster and smoother, you know, without dive on the front.
In the track mode, well, in all modes, all of our electronics, we set up to be absolutely unobtrusive. You do not want to know they're there.
Yeah.
You just want to ride the bike. The bike should be intuitive handling, intuitive throttle response.
Yeah.
So everything else should just be in the background, and that's what we think we've achieved, but you will feel the benefit.
So the overall specs of this machine are really impressive, but what's impressed me even more so is the fact that you've saved 10 kg and gained 28 horsepower versus the last Speed Triple. Which was the hardest of those two to find?
It's all a lot of hard work, a lot of detail. All of that is detail. I don't think either is harder. It's actually a joy. The engineering of that is a joy. The opportunity to design a completely new motorcycle and to get all those benefits is what all of our engineers want to do.
Yeah.
So it's a real challenge. It's obviously a challenge, but it's all down to attention to detail. It's down to calculation, simulation, doing a lot of thorough work to optimize your design from the outset right the way through to production.
Stuart, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've learned so much. I can't wait to get out on the roads with this bike here. I've got one last question. Can I take this home with me?